Good morning, everyone. This is episode number 5 of the BlinkersOn podcast. Episode number 5, sponsored by Old Smoke Clothing, celebrating the sport of kings. Polos, t-shirts, hats tailored to horse racing fans like you and me. Use code BlinkersOn20 for 20% off your first purchase at oldsmokeclothing.com. I repeat, 20% off your first purchase at oldsmokeclothing.com using code BlinkersOn20. Without further ado, let's get right into it. We got a little bit in store today, still a little bit of a dead time, but we're going to be going over the stakes races. We're going to be going over the Hawthorne debacle, and we're going to bring on Nicky Price. He's going to give his opinion about the Hawthorne debacle, and then Nicky's price play. Do a little bit of Bears talk at the end before who's got who, and then who's got who will be Super Bowl picks. But let's get right into the stakes races we got this week. We have a Derby prep race for 20 points being awarded to the winner. That is the Lecomte Stakes. That's a grade 3, $250,000 purse at Fairgrounds. That'll be tomorrow. Then we also got the Ladies Stakes, which is a $135,000 purse for 4 and up fillies at Aqueduct. That's tomorrow as well. And then I also liked the Fasig-Tipton Silver Bullet Day Stakes at Fairgrounds. That's a $150,000 purse for 3-year-old up fillies. But I'm going to give you a pick for the Lecomte Stakes. It's a stacked field. You got Quality Mischief, the number 1 horse. That's a Brad Cox horse, 10-1. Carson Street, Brendan Walsh horse, XL Concepcion, 8-1. That's a price jockey for you. Crown the Buckeye, who is the morning line favorite at 4-1. That's a Michael Maker, Ricardo Santana horse. Exo Sum is a Kelsey Danner 20-1 horse trained by ridden by Jareth Loveberry. Golden Tempo, that's Cherie DeVoe, Jose Ortiz riding that horse, 8-1. Then you got Brad Cox and Luis Saez, 6-1. That's who I'm going to go to. Thunderbuck is the horse's name. 6 horse. He broke his maiden in December, December 20th, I believe. He's coming right back to it this week for the Lecomte Stakes, trying to get some Derby points. I do like this horse a lot. He ran a nice speed figure. He ran a mile and a 16th rather quick and 144 and some change. And then my second choice was the 8 horse, another Brad Cox horse, 8-1, Irad Ortiz. But he hasn't raced in like 3 months. And he did broke his maiden on a mile and a 16th, but he ran in a 145 and change. So a second slower. I think Thunderbuck's a lot better of a horse. So that's my pick for the Lecomte Stakes tomorrow is the Thunderbuck number 6 horse at Fairgrounds, race number 12. But I know it's old news, 2-week-old news, but we're Chicago guys, all right? Hawthorne is our track. And Hawthorne really screwed up. If you haven't heard already, they had checks bounced to all the horsemen at the track. They had to shut down on Saturday and Sunday 2 weeks ago. I mean, how can a horse track have bounced checks to horsemen? How can you get people to come back, trust your track, if you're having bounced checks? So how really the news got out is a guy was going to the OTB and Hawthorne posted on there, no pari-mutuel wagering for Saturday and Sunday. So the guy went up in arms. Hawthorne responded and said that the Illinois Racing Commission and them are in an argument and that they'll be shutting down racing for Saturday and Sunday. They did resume that Monday, so it was only shut down for 2 days. But it's not a good look having checks bounced to horsemen. That's purse money and everything. I mean, the track's on its way out. Everybody knows that. Everybody knows that Hawthorne is just up and going because the owners are being selfish. But I think that a lot needs to happen in Illinois racing, especially to Hawthorne. And this is just the start of it. That's like a downward spiral, but a lot needs to happen to keep this track up and running. And I think that there's not much to do that can save it. I mean, the owner said at the start of 2026 that, I mean, also hot start to the year. This was on January 3rd. Jeez. But the owner said at the beginning of the year they need to take out a bridge loan to keep the track running. I don't know how horse tracks run. I don't know if most tracks take out bridge loans for the year and then pay them back. But taking out a loan to keep a horse track running, I mean, not a good look, to be honest with you. But I know Price has got an opinion on this. So let's bring in Nicky Price. Nicky Price, can you hear me? Nicky Price, are you with us?
What's up?
There he is.
How we
What's up,
doing?
Price? I'm all right. I'm all right. Slow morning, but we got a contest to look forward to later. So, all right,
There you
Price,
go.
what's your opinion on Hawthorne? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly it falls on Tim Carey, who's the president and the owner, and it falls on Jim Miller, who's the director of racing. That's his title, director of racing. And them not racing honestly revolves around it. His title is the director of racing. He's supposed to be the one that's making them race, but they should be ashamed of themselves, and not because they're not racing. That's part of it, but like what they should really be ashamed of is how many people like they're fucking up so many people's lives and so many people's jobs. And it's not just the horsemen. Yes, the horsemen are a big part of it. If the horsemen of Illinois and the people that come in and ship here from Indiana to run their horses in like in the winter for a harness because Hoosier's closed, the fact that they have nowhere to go now, and if they race, which they have not raced in the new year, even though they got that thing passed, they still have not raced. But because the horsemen, how could you trust them? What are you going to ship your horse here, spend all that gas? Because a lot of their farms are south. Champaign, Crete, they're south. Some come from Indiana. So they have to drive to Chicago. Nobody stays on track because Hawthorne has rat problems. There's rats all over. I was in the grandstand for Super Night. There was a rat running under the couches. A rat running under the couches.
Inside?
Inside the building, there was a rat. So no horseman's going to want to keep their horse on the backside when there's rats. So they stay on farms and they drive in. But what horseman can trust Hawthorne that when they run their horse, why would they ship their horse to race them if they're not even going to get paid for it?
Exactly
There's
right.
zero reason. And so they're costing them, they're costing the horsemen's people's jobs, their life, they should be ashamed of themselves. And not just them, they're also costing the jobs of the people that work at the OTBs.
Yes.
Because when you camp at Gulfstream, when you camp at Tampa, when you camp at Fairgrounds, when you camp at Churchill, when you camp at Turfway, when you camp at any track other than Aqueduct, who's going to go? And who's going to buy beer, buy food? Who's going to go? Why would you?
Exactly right. Why would you go if you can only bet one track in the day that only races for 5 months, 4 months?
It doesn't make sense. And I feel bad. And Jim Miller and Tim Carey should be ashamed of themselves. It's honestly a disgrace. It's a disgrace to the state. It's a disgrace to Hawthorne. Not that they even care about Hawthorne at this point. And I know Tim Carey said at the beginning of the year, "Oh, we should have a plan and a sponsor for the casino by the end of the year." They said that in 2020 when they first knocked down half the grandstand. 2019, I think it was 2018, and nothing's changed. He just
Yeah.
lies out of his ass, and there's nothing we can do about it. He should just be ashamed of himself, and that's all it is. That's all it
Yeah.
is. It's a disgrace.
It really is a disgrace, and I think it's done. I think it's gonna be done. It's one of two tracks or one of three tracks in Illinois, but there might be none soon.
Two.
Yeah. So I mean, it it really is a disgrace. It needs to be known, and I think a lot of people have made it known that they're a disgrace to the horse racing industry. But yeah, we had to cover it. I know we didn't have a podcast last week, so we wanted to cover it this week.
And I just want to mention this. Think about this for just an average somebody that lives in Chicago like myself that likes to bet the horses. Say I didn't want to play online, or say an older guy that doesn't have stuff online. Say he liked a horse at Turfway tonight and he wanted to go bet that horse. You know where he has to go? Well, I don't even know what would be closer. He's got three options. He could go to St. Louis or near St. Louis and go to Fairmont to bet it. He could go. He could go to Indiana Grand or Horseshoe, Indiana, which is about 4 hours away, or he could go to Churchill.
Yeah.
Those are the options. You got to leave the state essentially to go bet Turfway or
If
to
you
bet
don't do it on your
anything.
phone, it's,
If I
oh
wanted
my
to bet the
God.
Pegasus next weekend,
Yeah, you couldn't.
you couldn't. You got to go to, like I said, you got to go to Louisville. I mean, it's a joke.
So ridiculous. Yeah, it really is a joke. And I was there once and I tried betting a horse at Turfway and the guy's like, nope, they owe Churchill Downs money. Like, come on.
And
Come
like, you know
on.
what? When it was like that and it was just the Churchill tracks, I could handle it. But then it started to be Oaklawn, Gulfstream. It was every track. Tampa, you can't bet Tampa now. I mean, it's just like you can't bet anything.
Yeah, it's a joke. It really is. Well, Price, we got a little riled up this morning. That's good. It's good.
You can't bet
Uh,
the harness at night still, which is okay. Like that is one thing you can still bet. So if you want to go at night and play harness, you still can do that. But
yes. All right, Price, let's get into Nicky's price play. Nicky's price play brought to you by Mr. D's Hash Browns. Mr. D's quality since 1976. Go to your local grocery store, look in the freezer section. Look out for Mr. D's Hash Browns, the best hash browns in all of America. Mr. D's Hash Browns, quality since 1976.
yeah, I've been following Tampa Bay, as you guys know, because that's kind of like the winter track that I've kind of picked to follow week in and week out because they've been throwing out a lot of long shots and um yeah, it's not as quality horses as you might get somewhere else, but I don't me personally I don't really care about that. All I care about is the prices that go across the wire first. So the eighth race, um, so it's a little different. I actually got two picks for us this week. I got because this Tampa Bay, when I was looking through the card today, it was kind of a lot of bad horses and kind of hard to pick on paper. But sometimes in horse racing, you don't necessarily even need a program if you follow it like enough or week in and week out. It's just trends, like what trainer's running well right now, what jockey's riding well right now, stuff like that. And I mentioned this 2 weeks ago, and Sky laughed at me. Oh, that guy has one win. Well, you can see now. I think he has four, but this says three because I don't know when they print these. I think he had one a day or two ago, so it wouldn't be on here. But this Alejandro Medea, he popped last week at 50-1 and 25-1 twice. Two horses. So this is my pick. He's 12-1 morning line. Um, there's no reason, and when I give out my picks, it's my pick, so I can do what I want with it. There doesn't always have to be a paper reasoning for it. This horse does have a bullet workout on the 10th. Um, so you can see the little dot next to January 10th. That means bullet. So that means he was the fastest time on January 10th for the 4 furlongs. Everybody that worked out that day. So he ran in 47-3. He was first of 59 horses. So this is my pick. It's Alejandro Medea. He's been on fire. He's been hitting the board. He's been popping at big numbers. Sometimes that's all you need when you're looking for a price because a lot of times horses don't make sense on paper when you're looking for a price. So this number one in the eighth race today, Friday the 16th, is my pick for this one. And then also in the exacta, because I always give a 3-horse exacta. I mentioned 2 weeks ago too that these Hawthorne horses and these Illinois horses, so Fairmont included, have been running well. In particular, the Scott Becker barn. He's popped ever since about like I know he had one on Christmas Eve was the first time I saw it. He popped it like 25-1, and since then his barn's been running really well. Um, so the exact I'm going to give out, he has 2 horses in this race. The 3 I'll use, but I don't necessarily know where he'll be in the mix. He could be last. He could run third. I don't. It's kind of hard, but the reason I like the 9 over the 3, which we'll get to in a second, is you can see Scott Becker trains this horse, and his go-to jockey is this Alonso Quinones. And Alonso Quinones was on this horse last time. You could see on December 12th. This horse is second off the layoff, not to mention he realized the last race was on September 13th and December 12th, so that's a little angle too. A lot of times they need a race. But this Alonso Quinones was on this horse, and you can see now it's this Adamar Santos. So you look at where this Alonso Quinones goes, and he goes to the other horse, the other Scott Becker horse, who is the 9, who was also second off the layoff. So I would prefer the 9 over the 3, but I do like the 1. I think he'll be the longest odds out of all of them, most likely. Maybe the 3 will be. So he'll probably be in the middle. This 9 will probably get bet a little bit. So 1, 9, 3. That's my rated. Those are my top 3 rated horses for this race. And my price play this week is the number 1 in the 8th race at Tampa. Going over to a little late night action. We're gonna go to the Meadowlands, the 8th race. A little harness action. So those who don't know, I don't think I've gone into depth about harness racing yet. At least from a handicapper perspective, it's different than thoroughbreds. The horses are cheaper. There's pacers and there's trotters. Pacers, they run differently and they race with hobbles. Trotters typically race without hobbles, and they kind of run like high knees, so they're cheaper horses. And opposed to the jockey being on top of the horse, these guys have drivers, and they don't have to be short. They could be whatever height, and they sit in a sulky behind the horse. But the difference is these horses are cheaper, yes, but they race every week, opposed to a thoroughbred horse who may race once a month, or the good ones a couple times a year. So because they race every week, when you look at a harness form, you got to look for patterns and like, did they miss a week? Why did they miss a week? So you could see my pick is the 1. 2 weeks ago, he was entered at Yonkers and he was scratched because he was sick. So a lot of times when they take time off like that and they come back, they need a race. So he needed that last race, right? And he gets a little little driver change to Jacob Cutting. It's not a big one, but that's really my reasoning for that horse. He also gets post relief. The 2, and I'm just kind of going to run through this quickly because in harness, it's like you just got to kind of know the horses and you got to know patterns. So it's kind of, there's not much really. The past performances in harness are just showing you their past race lines. There's not much to read, like blinkers on, equipment adjustment. There's not much of that in harness because they run so often. But like a little angle I have, I don't like horses at the Meadowlands when they don't have a race over the track. So like this horse, the 2, you can see he raced at Philadelphia, so Harris Philly, and he does not have a race over the Meadowlands track. So I would never use a horse like that. If that makes any sense. The top driver right now, because a lot of the good drivers, your Gingras, your David Millers, your Tetrix, your Dexter Dunns, they go on vacation right now because there's not a lot of big money races right now at harness. Beginning of the year is kind of dead, so they'll come back end of February, March, and kind of get rolling again as the weather gets warmer. So like your top guy at the Meadowlands right now is Brett Beckwith. He's kind of your top dog right now. So his horses will always get bet, and whoever he's on always has a chance. So you know that. So the 6. So I'd go 1-6 in my exacto there. The 9. He won last week, 2 weeks ago, you could see, but he's stepping up in class, so it's kind of hard in harness. Usually when you win a race, you go up in class right away. There's no messing around in the same class level. So he goes up a class, he draws outside. I would never use that horse either. The 8, right? You would say, okay, you just said horse shipping in, they need a race over the track. Well, the 8 fits that, right? You would think, because he comes from Hoosier, and then he has the race at the Big M. But that wasn't a race, that was a qualifier. So a qualifier is essentially a race when a horse takes off a long time. They got to qualify to get back into the right class. So he needed to run a qualifying race. So that's not technically a race. They kind of just go around at half speed and try to get a certain time. It's not about where they finish. They have to hit a certain time. So I would guess for this one, he had to run in 157 or 158, and he ran in 157 and 3. So he hit that time, so he qualified for this race. But yeah, that's all I got. So 8th race 1 at Tampa and 8th race 1 at the Meadowlands.
I like it, Price. It's a good pick. 2 prices. We could see one of them come in. Here
now
we
you're
go.
going to say it's a good pick after last week you laughed at me for picking Alejandro Medina.
I mean, I'm saying it's a good pick for the fans, to be honest with you. I still think this trainer's got to prove himself, man. You
He
sent me a
pops.
text last week. This is the most unbelievable thing. You sent me a text last week with the screenshot of the guy winning at 40 to 1 or whatever it was. $79.80 is the payout. Circled the trainer. Look at crickets over there.
Yeah,
Crickets.
you didn't say anything.
Like you
Cricket's
played
a
the
win.
horse though. You didn't play the horse.
But the fact of the matter is, you said the trainer sucks and he wins at big numbers. Because he doesn't have the quality of horses, he's not going to win as your guy Brad Cox does every day. But he's going to pop at big numbers. Just watch out.
I
And I don't know how he gets it done, but he gets it done. So
if you know, you know.
I don't answer. I don't know. No comment.
There
No
you go. No
comment.
comment. That's right, Price. All right, let's get one of them in the winner's circle. What do you say, huh?
Yeah, I like both of them. We'll see.
But I love it. All right, a little bit of Bears action. How about them Bears? Huh?
Yeah,
How about
he's,
them? Huge win. Huge win. Caleb the Savior came back in the fourth quarter alone. Unbelievable. We got to quit coming back in the fourth quarter, though. Let's maybe try and score a touchdown in the first half. That might be a good idea. Ben Johnson, try that in the game plan this week. But that was an unbelievable win. Price, come on, give it to me.
Yeah, it was a good win, but they got to be better. They got to be better early in the game. They can't, and enough. The Packers are over, and I know that's what Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams are doing in the thing. So as fans, I'm going to do the same thing. The Packers are done. In the past, it was great to beat them. It was great, but we're on to the Rams. We're on to the Rams, and I have two keys, and I'll let you kind of go in depth about this game. What I think about the Rams game, there's two keys that they have to do to win. The first thing is they have to be able to run the ball early because the Rams, and I saw an interview that Kay Adams did on that Up and Adams on FanDuel. She was interviewing Devontae Adams, and she was like, what'd you think about when you heard you were playing the Bears? Because obviously he has time in Green Bay and stuff like that. And the first thing that came out of his mouth was, how cold's it going to be? So that's in their heads. That's in their heads. So what the Bears have to do is establish the line of scrimmage, and they have to run the ball. And Ben Johnson, if he gets to a 4th and 1, a 4th and inches, he has to stop getting cute, and he has to just run the ball. Just run the ball. You have a center, run it behind Tooney. Tooney was rated the best offensive lineman in the league. Just get behind him, get a young guy back there, and just run the ball. Just run the ball.
Just Tooney wasn't the best in the league. We have two all-pro offensive linemen.
Dahlman, right, the center.
Yes.
I didn't think he had his best game last week, but
he didn't.
He's still, nevertheless,
but I completely agree. I think the cold is in these guys' heads. That's their number one concern. It's not the Bears itself. It's playing in the cold. I don't think they have a problem playing the Bears. They have a problem playing at Soldier Field in December or January. And
it's going to be loud because Corneliuson's on the anthem. It's going to be loud from the start.
I agree. And then I completely second your second opinion there. We have to run the ball, pound the ball. We did that on the first drive. Johnson won the toss. We took the ball. We wanted to score. We did that. We got 3. We didn't get 7, but we ran the ball early. We ran it all over them. And then inside the 30, we decided to pass. I mean, I don't know. I think the play calling needs to be a little bit better. I was listening to 670 The Score last week, and they said that Johnson's his own worst enemy. The other team's not his enemy. He shoots himself in the foot with his play calling. The 4th and 1. Yeah. The 4th and 1's the perfect example. Why the hell are we not running it? Throw a lineman at fullback and run it up the gut and get the first down. But I think keys to this week, we got to run the ball early, establish the run, show them that we can run. Yeah,
the other one I had was you got to get pressure on the quarterback. Not necessarily sacks, but you have to make Stafford uncomfortable. You have to get him out of the pocket, and you have to make him think like, oh, fuck, I got to throw the ball now. So that relies on Grady Jarrett, Javon Dexter, and Montez Sweat to find a way to generate some sort of pressure on the quarterback, collapse the pocket. Because our DBs are not at full strength. Kyler Gordon is not 100%. So when you leave him on Devontae Adams for 5 seconds, it ain't going to go well. It just ain't.
No,
so
it's not.
It relies on the guys up front to get pressure and make Stafford make decisions quick. Puka Nakua had a couple drops last week in South Carolina, and it's not
One
even that
touchdown
cold
too.
there.
Yeah, one
It's
touchdown
not
he
even that
dropped.
cold.
Yeah,
Yep.
no, I agree. The pass rush got to be better, like it was in the second half, like it was in that fourth quarter. I mean, just attack the quarterback, force him to throw. Everybody's an average quarterback when they're put under pressure. Matt Stafford's probably going to win MVP this year, if not second,
Other
him or
than the
Drake May.
Iceman.
Yeah, no, the Iceman. Exactly right. Caleb Williams is the only one that shows how to throw a football under pressure. I completely agree. So everybody's an average quarterback when you get pressure. Just speed them up a little bit. Show them that you're there. Touch them. Who cares? You know, breathe on them. Who cares? But yeah, I agree. We got to establish the run early. Show that we can play offense for 4 quarters. I mean, Christ, we cannot just come back. We got to improve the red zone execution. Got to put the ball across the goal line. We really do. And again, slow down the Rams pass. We really have to do that. Already mentioned it. And get a takeaway. One takeaway. That's all I ask for. We're number one in interceptions. We have the most interceptions in all of football. Just we got to get one takeaway, whether it's a fumble for the loss. I mean, that was brutal when the offensive lineman fumbled it and then
Yeah,
Grady
then we
Jarrett
like
just kicked it out
yeah.
of bounds.
Yeah, that made no sense. Just get on the ball.
Yeah, I don't know why he was trying to run it, but again, just one takeaway. Doesn't need to be inside their territory. It doesn't matter. Just get one takeaway that and then we got to produce points on the takeaway. So there's a lot of keys to this week. We got to come out firing really early. Just cannot come back in the fourth quarter. I know you asked me this the other day, but it's like is coming back a part of the plan? Why can we not score in the first 2 quarters, the first three
Yeah, I
quarters?
don't.
And I said, is it part of the plan? Is this what Ben Johnson wants people to think? Like,
No, there's no way.
there's no way, right? It's just brutal. We got to come out fighting, and I think Cornelius and the fans, they're all going to be there rallying around this team. So
But you
it's
look
going to
at it,
benefit
and I
us.
thought I was thinking about this. What if, and this is a what if, hypothetical situation. What if the Bears and the Broncos make the Super Bowl? Is it just going to be 0-0 for the first 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter comes around and there'll be 100 points? They do the same thing.
They do. It'll be an under, that's for sure. I'll tell you that much. The under will hit. If it's set at 40, if it's set at 30, take it, for Christ's sake. But I completely agree. If the Bears make it and the Broncos make it, two defensive matchups, but they also don't like to score points early. They
Yeah, you
just,
just don't watch the game till the fourth quarter. Just hit the TV at the fourth quarter. Put it
yeah.
on.
Yeah, last 2 minutes. Somebody said after, they're like, it's like the NBA. All you got to do is watch the last two
Yeah.
minutes and
Well, yeah,
you'll know
watch the
what happened
fourth
in the
quarter. That's
game.
it. That's it.
I completely agree. This Bears team is an NBA team. I mean, I don't watch the NBA, but that's all everybody says is watch the fourth quarter, watch the
Yep.
last 5 minutes, 2 minutes, and you'll know exactly what happened in the entire game.
Yep.
All right. Well, I love it. I mean, this Bears team's fun to watch. They really are. But Price, let's get into a little who's got who. I did win last week, but we don't have a draft style, so I'll let you take the number one. Who is your Super Bowl pick?
I thought about this a little bit, and it's hard because I do really think if San Fran beats Seattle and San Fran and if we beat the Rams, San Fran is to come here. I really do think the Bears could get in, and I think they could win. Once you're there, you could anything's possible.
I agree.
But I don't know that San Fran could beat Seattle, and I don't know that if the Bears do win and they have to go into Seattle, I think they still can because I don't know that I could trust Sam Darnold. Everybody's big on Seattle, but the one playoff game we saw, Sam Darnold still has yet to play a playoff game other than one last year, and he got smacked by 85 with Minnesota. So we really don't know what Sam Darnold is in the playoffs. We have zero clue. So I won't take Seattle. But I'm just going to take the experience, and I think this week will be their toughest game because I do like Denver, but I'm going to take Buffalo. I think
I like it.
Buffalo, they have the experience, they have the veteran leadership of the quarterback, and I think they have no pressure because this year they don't have to be like, oh, we got to get past the Chiefs, we got to get past Mahomes, we got to get past the Ravens, we got to pass Lamar. There's none of that. They're under the radar. They're a 6 seed. Nobody's talking about them. Buffalo, no pressure.
I like it. I really do. It's a good pick. I'm gonna lean AFC again, but I think the whole playoffs and everything would be a different ball game. I think if the Eagles beat San Fran, it would be a whole different sort of bracket. Obviously, it would be a different bracket, but I think the spread on the the spread on this Bears game, we wouldn't even be favored close because we would be playing the Eagles and the Rams would be playing Seattle, so that would be different. But I'm going to go AFC, and I'm going to go to the 3 o'clock game on Sunday. I'm going to go New England in Foxborough. I think they take that home. They win
Saturday, no?
Sunday. They're playing Sunday.
Sunday. I thought they were doing AFC Saturday. All right, my fault. I thought they were doing AFC Saturday, NFC Sunday.
That's what I thought, but they split them both.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna go to New England at home at Foxborough. I think New England's above everybody else. I really do. I mean, I don't know if they're quite above the Bills, like Price said, but that's who they're gonna play. Is gonna be the Bills or the Broncos if they win. I know Houston's got the best defense in all of football, so that's gonna be tough for Drake May and that offense. But Drake May is young, you know. He's playing on talent, really talent alone. I mean, he's got the weapons behind him, but this team's not full of superstars. They're sort of like the Bears. They're sort of like the Bears that they're not full of superstars. They just know how to win. They get it across the goal line when they need to, and they know how to win. I mean, their first playoff game, all they do was they clawed it out. It was 13-6 or something against the Chargers. Like, they just know how to win. And Vrabel has yet to coach in the playoffs. He's yet to coach a Super Bowl. But I think that Vrabel being in the playoffs as a player and playing in a Super Bowl or two, I think, he's been there. He knows the stage. He knows how bright the lights are. He's going to rally his team. And I think that Vrabel has his team where he needs to be. Drake May is a real good leader. I think that helps him just that next step against above everybody else. So yeah, that's my pick, New England. I think they'll make it there. But if shit hits the fan, I think really the Bears could get it done. I mean, all they need is a few plays, a few wins. I mean, they're looking week to week. You know, they're not looking at the Super Bowl. They're looking to beat the Rams this week, and then whoever wins on Saturday, who they play next week, then that's who they play. That's who they focus. But they're focused 1 week at a time, and I really like that. But yeah, no, Patriots, and then I'm gonna go Bears, to be honest with you. But
So
Bryce,
if you had to
anything else?
redo that Caleb Williams draft, who are you taking 1-1, May or Williams?
Oh, Caleb Williams, no doubt.
You're taking Williams still?
Even though he paints his nails, but I think that
You can
Ben
get past that.
Johnson.
Dennis Rodman dyed his hair. Who cares?
Yeah, and Dennis Rodman was the best defender in the league at the time. So, but I would take Caleb Williams. I really do. I think he has so much more to grow. I mean, this team. Think about it. This team. It's scary to think that this Bears team is going to be better next year. They're going to draft a whole defensive front next in this draft, whether where they are. Ooh, I want to make a point. Do you think they're going to trade up to try and get that top defensive lineman from, I think Oregon is where he's from, that defensive edge?
No, I don't think so. I think they're going to
think
try
they'll
to make
just
a
take
free
it?
agency splash. I want them to get that guy
Okay.
from Vegas so bad.
Yeah, Crosby.
If they get him, it's honestly that will be the best signing. It would be better than the Max signing, I think.
I agree. But yeah, no, next week we got a lot in store. Pegasus is next week. Price is coming down in 2 weeks. We're going to do an in-person episode for a contest. He's coming down to play in Lexington for a contest. So that'll be a good one, in-person episode. But next week we're sort of going to do a little bit different, and I think it's going to be our Who's Got Who segment. We're going to do both handicapping a few races from that Pegasus World Cup card. And so you're going to see how I handicap. You already know how Price handicaps, but I think it's going to be good for the program. Price, you got anything else?
No, go Bears.
Go Bears. Thanks for watching. That's episode number 5 of the Blinkers On podcast. Like, subscribe, comment, share. Do whatever you got to do to boost the views. Keep growing the program. And let's get another winner in the winner's circle. Thanks for watching.